boys and girls. Today we're going to shoot into a little talk on the most controversial man on the internet, Mr. Andrew Tate. So I'm going to have to expose him on a few things that are not public knowledge. I've not heard people talking about this. I'm going to talk about the good things about him, which I think people also don't talk about. I think he has a few good ideas and things that you can learn from him. And then I'm going to talk about the kind of things that he brings to like the whole internet culture and discussion that I think are very interesting and should be talked about more regardless of whatever you think of the man. So first and foremost, I would say the classic, the big one, I guess the views on women. Obviously it's a bit questionable. I think he's a really smart guy that has really dumb beliefs, and somehow he got further than he should have with these beliefs, because he's kind of like a sharp, clever guy. But some of what he believes, like if he actually believes them and they're not fully marketing ploys, are pretty insane. What I think is most interesting about him, though, is actually his views on men. I think those are actually excellent, and nobody mentions this. He talks about kind of like a man as like a being that has a responsibility to be kind of like smart, knowledgeable, charismatic, powerful, strong, rich, all these things, and I think that's phenomenal. I think a lot of the problems in society is that men kind of like have let themselves go and don't really fulfill their full potential, and that also adds to a lot of the issues with women, because you have these guys that are kind of like entitled to have this thing where they want this submissive woman, where they're not very special. I think women are rightly kind of like insulted when they hear that, because it's like, well, this guy says that and he's kind of like either average or like less than average, like pathetic, right? If you want to be this kingly figure, if you want to be a king, then you have to like, be special, have the characteristics of a king, right? Same thing with a woman. You want to be a queen, then work on yourself, be worth being like a royal figure, at least that you pretend to be, right? So speaking of, I think his program at Hustlers University is actually phenomenal. I have huge problems with the traditional school system. I think it's kind of like useless depending on what you want to get into, and just having someone that teaches you like the basics of online business for just $49 a month, I think it's phenomenal. I think the people that call it a pyramid scheme are kind of like stupid. Just because something has a referral program doesn't mean it's a pyramid scheme. Most big businesses these days have a referral program, an affiliate program. Amazon does. Many big brands do. It's not a big deal. And the fact that he also has many other business methods. I bought the program, by the way. I didn't really go through it. I kind of like perused through it. Me and my business partner were studying kind of like online community, so we took it to go. And I think for young people and people that are kind of like trying to be successful outside of the traditional system, I think it's a fantastic offer. Probably there's, once you get the basics of it, there's more resources out there. It's probably not going to make you a multimillionaire, but it doesn't really need to with $49 a month, right? I think that also he has this kind of like idea of like what I talked about in my last crypto video of this sovereign citizen, kind of like this traveling multimillionaire with different passports that kind of that can go wherever he wants, has social circles wherever he wants, has like a global networks of like friends, associates, business partners. I think that's like top tier. I think this kind of like power building and this new meta is going to be the future for the next 10 to 20 years, and kind of like learning this way of life and just seeing how he lives his life, going to everywhere, kind of like not having to play by the rules that the average person has to, I think is phenomenal. And I think most people can learn a thing or two from that, especially in the coming years. Probably something like this is going to be, it's going to save your life, potentially, literally. I also like that he has the balls to just say whatever he wants, man, and just kind of like put his opinion out there. And he knows that the masses are not going to agree with him, and he just takes it, I think that's great, and I think that's really courageous, actually. There's this kind of like creepy thing where like humans were kind of like this hive mind, and going against that and kind of like breaking the mold, like people are terrified to do that, and you get like super ostracized for doing that. So for the few and far people that are like just living their lives, whether you agree with how they live it or not, as long as it's not dangerous, hurting people, which I don't think he is, the people that have the courage to just live their lives and tell people to go fuck themselves, I think are very admirable. I think that's one of the qualities of like, an alpha masculine man, just like going your own way and like forging your path, I think is a very powerful message to put across. And I think for women to have this kind of men in their life, I think would be very valuable. I don't think Andrew's necessarily that person, but you can separate you can agree with some of the things that someone says without fully, like, it's not binary, without fully agreeing with the person, right? So you can have someone that's 40% right and 60% wrong. You just take the 40%, discard the 60%, and then you still got 40% of like valuable information, right? That's very important for you to do that. That's literally critical thinking. People are very binary when they judge people. You know, it's either all bad or all good. That's literally like a juvenile, like literally quite mentally ill way of looking at the world. He also has a very interesting way of looking at depression. I don't know if I fully agree with it, but basically his point is that depression, most people that are depressed, it's nothing to do with a chemical imbalance. It's just their life is shit. If you don't make the money that you want, if you have a job that's kind of sucks, if you don't have the friends, the social life, the girls, the guys that you won't have in your life, of course you're going to be depressed. Like, what's there to be happy about? And I think that makes a lot of sense, man. Most people just kind of like are stuck in this position where they have to, like, they're basically drowning. Like their life just sucks. It's hard. I get it. Like, I'm pretty much there too, you know. So I think most people, even Jordan Peterson talks about this, most of the depression out there in most people is based on like just lifestyle, sleep, diet, money, friends, relationships. Like, I'd say it's pretty much 90% of it. So I agree with him on that part for sure. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's probably some people that it goes further than this. I'm quite sure. But hey, like, I feel like that's a good point. Yeah, I think his views on relationships are very strange, very like archaic, you know, very like old school. He has this kind of idea where like an alpha male can fuck whoever he wants, and like no matter if you have a girl, you can fuck other girls, which is strange to me because if you want to be polyamorous, then be polyamorous. If you want to be in a one-way open relationship where you can sleep with other girls and your girl can't sleep with other guys, like, I think that's fine as long as you're honest and transparent about it. You guys know that there's literally like mostly bisexual girls, like mostly lesbian girls that just want to sleep with other girls. Like, there's a whole spectrum out there. There's literally a Kinsey scale, like it's a thing. You're gonna have to put more effort into finding these people and hopefully doing like in an ethically monogamous way, a non-monogamous way. That's based on like, you know, intimacy, trust, transparency, open and honest communication. But that's very possible. I just don't like this kind of twist that he puts on it, where like it's like the superiority thing, where like as a man you're owed this, and the woman doesn't have a choice. I feel like that's really cringe. I don't see why he has to package that in there. However you want to live your sex life and your relationship is up to you. As long as you are like, you know, open and honest and don't hurt other people, you can do a lot of different shit. You guys should go on Reddit and look at these alternative kind of like kinky subreddits. People have wild sex lives out there. If you just want to fuck a bunch of girls, like that's not even that crazy. People live way crazier lives, you know, like the weird like 24/7 slave. Like, people live as puppies. You guys know that, right? So like a man that wants to fuck a lot of, it's not that crazy. It's just I don't know why you put this weird twist to it. You know, you live your life. You don't have to throw your superiority, inferiority complex into it. That's kind of strange to me. A great guy to follow on that is Adam Leons on YouTube. He actually is a OG dating coach in the dating community, and he actually married two women, had kids with two different women's, and how he talks about it is phenomenal. You guys should watch. He just did a podcast with Michael Sartain. Maybe I'll link it down in the comments. He talks about, yeah, it was really based on love and intimacy, and he just like adored these two women, and he just married two of them, had kids. To this day, he has 5 kids, and he seems happy. He's running his business, multi-millionaire. Like, that's the life. You can do all these crazy things that seem to come straight out of the movie for real. Just, you don't have to be a fucking psychopath to do it. Speaking of, there's some very problematic things that Tate does. There is this incident, I don't know if you guys know about. He used to be on this reality show called Big Brother, and this kind of like video came out where he was like spanking this girl, like, and if you watch the video for yourself, I'm sure you can find it. You'll see that there's some kind of like pretty disturbing things on this. Like, it looks like he kind of like gets really angry at the girl. It's like some domestic violence type shit. He kind of tried to explain it away, saying it was just like kinky sex, but like it's pretty questionable. You guys should watch that and make your own opinion. I think he should account to that, and it was pretty fucked up from what I saw. He also has this habit of like really getting into really anger fueled fights with people on the internet. He had this thing where like this English journalist, kind of like, he went back and forth, and then he sent guys, or I think him and his brother, which are 2 huge kickboxers, went outside this guy's house, kind of like took pictures, intimidated him. There's this other like kind of like red pill guy that tried to like shit talk him, and then he like threatened his parents to like sue them and like litigate them into poverty, like dox a bunch of his information. Like the guy's kind of like unhinged when he goes off, and I think that's really creepy, like just sad, like unfortunate, because I actually think he's like a smart, clever, and wise individual in some ways. He's just very immature in some. So I find it unfortunate that the people close to him don't call him out on this behavior and don't kind of like check him, because if these kind of problematic takes and behaviors were stopped, I think he has a lot of actually good and positive advice for the young men of the world. So I think Tate is a really mixed bag. I think he's an interesting character. I think the issues that he brings forth are actually really good for society and the internet to kind of like tackle, right? This whole kind of like red pill pickup kind of ideology versus like the feminism blue pill mainstream thing. For these things to like kind of like collide, and for these people to have public debates, I think is phenomenal. I think that's how we're gonna start to solve these intergender kind of like issues that we have. These things are very real, and by censoring one or the other party, I don't think that's helping anyone. I think by having open discussions and keeping people accountable, which is different than just censoring them, keeping them accountable and making them back up the claims and the ideas that they have, I think puts us on the right track. If you guys saw, there's Destiny the streamer, which is kind of like this blue pill kind of like nice guy, you could say. He went on the Fresh and Fit podcast, and that was phenomenal. You know, these kind of like ideas colliding and clashing, I think can only do good for society. I think the more of that happens with all the fields, really, you know, like religion, relationships, money, business, schooling, if we talk about these things openly and transparently, I think that can only help all of us here. So yeah, I'm very curious what you guys think of the man and what he talks about. What do you guys think about him getting banned? I think that's a bit unfortunate. I think maybe deserved, like I'd say like 50-50. Like he does post some pretty crazy shit, but in general, I think he should be allowed to put his views out there. And as an individual, especially as a man, there's a lot that you can learn from him. Not everything, you know. Don't take the whole package. Like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's some parts that are good, some parts that are bad. As a wise and empowered and smart individual, I would hope that you can make the difference and kind of like pick between the two and kind of like recognize what you can take from it, right? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like this video, subscribe, kind of like post in the comments what you think. And yeah, I'm curious. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.